think he might have edited. Yeah.
He did?
Oh, there we are.
Oh, yay.
Rise and shine, get up and go. It's the Long Island Breakfast Club show. Grab a cup of coffee or hot cocoa. It's the Long Island Breakfast Club show. Grab a cup of Java or espresso. It's the Long Island Breakfast Club show. Tina Valentina is the host, you see. She's as classy as she can be. The co-host Greg has a lot to say. Well, he wouldn't have it any other way. Grab a cup of coffee or espresso with the Long Island Breakfast Club show. I said rise and shine, get up and go. It's the Long Island Breakfast Club show. Grab a cup of coffee or espresso with the Long Island Breakfast Club show. Another cup of Java or espresso. Another cup of coffee or hot cocoa. It's the Long Island Breakfast Club show. It's the Long Island Breakfast Club show. It's the Long Island Breakfast Club show.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Thursday again. I'm surrounded by a lot of people today. I'm very happy about it. We have a great show planned. But most, as usual, every time when we start, today is a national day. I wanted to go to the store on the way in, but I was running late because of traffic. So today is National Yo-Yo Day. So if I had the time, everybody would have been getting a yo-yo today and we would have been playing. But we celebrate Yo-Yo Day to remember the iconic string toy that generations enjoy all the time. And it's a way to give our talents back to the dog, shooting the moon, hop the fence, that kind of stuff. And you move a yo-yo by holding the free and the string, the free end and the string, and it allows the gravity to make the yo-yo work. So today, it's National Yo-Yo Day. It's also National Higher Education Day. It's intended to help you prepare a path towards your better education after you graduate high school. And the hope is that we encourage these kids to go to college, because if they don't, it's going to be tough on them because this world is changing so much. And if they don't want to do college, they need to go to trade school. Because today there's more jobs now in trade school and more entrepreneurs that are making money on their own. So those are the two general days today. So if you know a kid that's graduating high school, give them a talk. And if you have a yo-yo, go home and play with the yo-yo. So we always have some terrific guests. So I'm going to introduce everyone a little bit at a time. But today everyone's lucky because we have the Long Island Opera here. And I've worked with these wonderful people for about 1.5 years. And they do some terrific things on Long Island. Thank you, Isabella. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Tina.
And then you're going to meet our great performers and our operetta, Bernadette, who she's been doing, I don't know, how many years? Too many. Too many. And of course, my two ladies on my left, when I lost my job, I met these girls because I couldn't get a job. So I decided to go into comedy. And I met you, Bonnie Scalisi,
Yes.
and I met Jennifer Lentini. And we worked at a different club in the beginning. And now we're both working different things. And this is Bonnie. She's a comedian. And she's the greatest. And this is Jennifer Lentini.
And we're best friends.
And they have the same initials.
Yeah. Well, my initial is B, her initial is J, so BJ. BJ.
How do you like that? Okay. So I think what I want to do is I want to start with Jennifer. So Jennifer, she says every day is an adventure. Eat the cake first. And I'm going to let you talk a little bit, but I've known her now since I'm in this business. And she's an angel. She actually works as a terrific bartender at Whiskey Reds in Levittown.
Yes.
And I guess you do the dance, you do the drinks. What else do you do at Levittown on the bar?
Oh,
It
it's so
depends on the
fun.
nights. Yeah, we have
So fun.
karaoke. You know, I try to make it a fun environment for everybody because I really just want it to be, when you're coming in there, I want you to forget your problems, and it's not just a bar, but I want to make it a home.
It's
and
like
you
Cheers.
just- yes, everyone knows your name, so it's just a great place to
And
come and hang
didn't
out. I
you
love Whiskey
work
Reds.
at a different bar before that?
That's
you
how
had
we
a
met.
name,
I
right?
did. I worked at Coaster's Tavern, and I loved it. That's where I met a lot of my friends, my best friends, and I managed there, and it was just a home. And now we kind of, sadly, we closed, so now we just moved the home to Whiskey Reds, and now it's kind of like my second home. So
And
I'm
you're
really
there about
enjoying
what, 6
it.
months? Is it a year?
It's almost about a year and a half now. I'm there
Wow, that
Wednesday
went
and
fast.
Saturday nights, and I just love it. And I love meeting people and just getting to know people.
What's the owner's
being
name?
There. So there is Jimmy and Ross Finn. There's Steve Malone, and also my barback Larry, who's always with me. We're partners in crime there, so we just have a great time.
Well, to the team, thank you for allowing her to come on. And you should come down and you should think about coming on again.
Yes.
But let's talk about you, the angel, the girl that I know, the people
Thank
that
you.
always
Very
ask how
kind.
you're doing, and you do so much work with giving back. So let's hear your story, because I really don't know the whole story.
Thank you. So I don't know if I'm an angel. I just kind of try to live my best life, as we all should. And briefly, and I'll try to make it short, when I was 13 years old, I was a normal teenage girl, just living an everyday life. My biggest problem was probably boys, going to school, nothing of anything bigger in nature than that. And my younger brother was actually born with a hole in his heart, so he was kind of the one in the family that we watched over. So I was this healthy older sister. I was a baton twirler. I played all sports, not well, but that's what I did. And after my 13th birthday, March 4th, I started having really bad stomach pains. As I was having these stomach pains, it was really frustrating for myself and my family because I was going back and forth to different emergency rooms, different doctors, and they kept saying, well, she's becoming a woman. And that was sort of the diagnosis. And again, it just was very frustrating because it was like Groundhog's Day. I go to my school, and the nurses at school were calling my parents up, and everybody just said, we can't find anything physically wrong with you. At this point, about a month or so had gone and passed, and I went back to a different doctor in an emergency room, and they ended up saying, well, we want to do something called exploratory surgery in her abdominal region because I was presenting with stomach pains. So my parents said, just do what you have to do, but make her better. And at this point, they ended up doing the surgery, and I went into cardiac arrest on the table. I come from a very small family, and they ended up sending them home saying, just come back in the morning, you know, she'll be okay, everything will be fine, we'll fix her up. And they went home, and about 2 hours later, they said, you have to come now and say goodbye because your daughter's dying of heart failure. They ended up coming. They had someone give me my last rites. It was a family friend and was a priest, and my younger brother, and everybody was getting ready to say goodbye to their little girl. And I was at a hospital in Long Island, and luckily, all I remember, now again, I was only 13 years old, I woke up surrounded in Columbia Presbyterian Hospital by all these doctors, and they said I was going to need a heart transplant. And I said, okay, I thought it was like my brother's surgery. Sign me up. All right, let's do what we got to do, not really understanding what had happened. I ended up getting cardiomyopathy, which is very common in transplant world, not everyday world. And I ended up being there where days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months. You have something called a Broviac tube in your chest to make sure that you're getting medication 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you're sadly waiting for someone to pass away so you could live. And I don't think I fully understood what was actually happening at 13, which I'm sort of blessed in a way, not knowing that.
Well, you were too young to understand.
I was just sort of thrown into it, and they try to make your life the best they could. I went to school there. I went to Child Life. Even back then, I was very kind of boisterous in my opinions to the doctors. I said, okay, this is when I go to Child Life. This is what I'm going to do because you try to make it normal. And for me, I waited 3 months and a day, and on July 6, 1996, a young boy named Matthew saved my life, and his mother made the decision to donate his organs, not just the heart, but all the organs. And this is him right here.
Oh, how nice is that, huh?
I was 13 when I got the transplant, and he was 14, so we were very close in age, and if it wasn't for his mother making that decision, I wouldn't be here today. I want to read a letter that his mother had sent to all the recipients back now when I was 13 in 96. Dear recipient, I'm writing to you in regards to my son Matthew, 14 years old. He died July 5th, 96. We donated Matthew's organs to save others, knowing he would have wanted us to if he could have said so. Matthew was such a kind and loving boy. of all he knew and even people he really didn't know. Matthew was an honor student, a member of the track and field team. He loved nature, fishing, four-wheeling, and animals. He also believed in the Lord. Matthew was never any trouble to anyone ever, just a very good boy. And I was very lucky that this was actually when I was waiting in the hospital.
Look at you.
Yeah, I
We
was
didn't
very
even know
cool.
you. Look at
Yeah.
her. She was a cool dude.
Yeah, I was very, my room was decorated. I was very
Let me see that.
fortunate.
I'm gonna use
Yes.
that.
Look
at
and
her.
sunglasses on. I have
You
no
were only-
idea.
How old were you then?
13.
You look older there.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I
Look at
mean,
her.
there's a lot, I guess, going on and
Very
stuff.
nice. You had a lot of toys in the room.
I was very fortunate. They,
Yeah,
yes,
the old-fashioned phone.
yes, they were. I was very lucky. They tried to really make my room very nice for me. And if they had to switch, they were all pissed off because they had to take everything with me. And I was like, hey, this is my home right now. And I'm just very grateful. I think when I was younger, it's very hard where I was like, why me? Why did this happen to me?
because now you're a different world.
Yeah, and I got thrown back into school, and I was different, right? I was the first person, actually, I'm from Hicksville, and I was the first person in that district to have a transplant. Nobody knew what to do with me. I was never healthy enough to be in healthy world, but I was never sick enough to live in feral sick worlds, and, you take all this medication, and all these different things come up, and you just look different, and I was really heavy. There's a lot of very bad side effects, and at that point, too, they told my parents I might not make it to my 18th birthday, let alone my 30th birthday, and I'm 41 now, and
41.
Yeah.
God, you look like you're 25.
Thank you.
Look
Thank
at
you.
her.
But I'm just happy to be alive, and I've been very fortunate to meet amazing people in this journey. And I always say, we make plans. I went to school for social work, and unfortunately, I didn't get to practice it, and that's how I ended up bartending. But if I didn't, I wouldn't know all the people that are in my life now. So I'm a firm believer, and you literally have to live every day.
Well,
because
that's very true.
nobody knows. And for me, a big thing, like, I'm very fortunate I get to share my story, and I just like to advocate, and I've won some awards for it, but it really is about the best gift you can give someone is the gift of life. There's nothing else that you're going to give someone. There's nothing you can buy on Amazon, go in the store.
That is true.
Yeah, and even on my worst days, I'm here. So at least even on my worst days, I'm still here to be able to have those days. And, I never know what's going to happen in my life. Retransplants are very common in my world. Different things come up, as I said, because of the side effects of medication. But all I really ever wanted to do was thank my donor mom. That was such a big thing for me. How do I thank, though, a woman that gave me that gift? And we didn't get to connect when I was younger, which I think ended up being really good in a way, because we got to live our lives and then meet later on. But on February 14th, which is Valentine's Day and National Donor Day, in 2015, I got to meet her. And I have 2 pictures. But the first thing she did when I met her, she didn't care anything else, but she literally just put her head against my chest.
Oh, look at
And
that.
There's a video on YouTube. It's
Oh,
very
what
raw.
a beauty.
And she just,
Look at that,
listened.
guys.
That is
Wow.
a beautiful picture.
Thank you for bringing this.
Oh, thank you for letting me share this. And this is why I share it, because the first thing she did, and she said she got to listen to the heartbeat with a stethoscope, and that's my
her
boy. Yeah.
Wow, that must have been a real emotional day.
We all cried, and I just was thankful, and she didn't care what I had done with my life. Like, she just asked, are you happy? You're here. Like, it didn't matter if I went to school, if I went anywhere. She was just happy that I was still here.
And you are happy. Look at you.
I
Now, did you have any issues, or are you good? Up and down?
I always say my life's like a roller coaster.
Yeah, I
and
see
Bonnie's
that. It
been
says
through that with me.
it has ups and downs, and you can choose to ride the wave or scream.
It's true.
And you ride.
It's
Yes.
Which
true.
is great.
I love that.
I love that saying too, because it's so true. And I'm very fortunate that even last year I ended up having some
Major surgery, right?
Yeah, I ended up having a surgery that kind of got, I don't want to say botched, but because I'm on a blood thinner, because I ended up with stents and different things, got kind of crazy. And Bonnie was actually there when I went into surgery, and she really, had my parents were there, but she go home so they could get some rest, and right after. So I'm very fortunate in the people I've met. And I
That's
just
great.
really want to share my story, let people know why organ donation is so important. I always say too, if you're not an organ donor, really just think about it, and if you're willing to receive an organ, then you should also be willing to
Give an organ.
give an organ.
Right.
But to really, like you said, eat the cake first. Enjoy your life. Like, there's so much stuff that goes on in life.
It's true.
I'm like a big 41-year-old child. Like, I love Disney,
You are.
but I
You
really am.
I saw pictures of you at Disney.
Yeah,
just
and
recently.
I love it. And I really kind of
You
am
should
very
get a job in
blessed.
Disneyland.
I know. I mean, I like going. You never know. Maybe Disney, hear me out. But
They should build a Disney
yeah.
around here.
That
Yeah.
would be great. I think we just
It's
have
true.
to enjoy every day, even because it's hard. Life's hard in general. So just enjoy it. Hang out with your friends, and do whatever you can to make yourself happy. Because at the end of the day, nothing really matters. It's the memories and the people that you're around, and just living your life.
True. So if people are interested in finding out about how to be a donor, or your website, or do you have a Facebook, or how do they do it?
They could go on my Facebook, Jennifer Lantini. You can follow that, and I post a lot on Facebook, but I do it. It's like a living diary almost to me.
Yeah, you talk
and
about the things that go on with you.
Yeah, and every year, like, there's been times that I'm in really bad places, and I'll see, like, pictures come up or good things come up on my time hop, and I'll say, wow, I had a really good time last year. So even though maybe right now is a little crazy, I'm really just, honestly, people always ask, like, what your goals are in life, or what are you doing? And I said, honestly, my main goal is staying alive. Like, I
That's
don't
a good
really
one.
have any plans other than that. Staying alive, maybe go to Disney.
Yeah, but look at you. You turned out to be such a positive person.
Yeah, I just want to live
I
my
mean,
life.
not everybody is positive when they go through crap.
It's true.
But then, of course, these two are best friends, and
Yes.
this lovely lady, Bonnie Scalisi,
Hi.
she is a
BJ's.
retired kindergarten teacher. She takes the seniors out to the diner once in a while and makes them all eat together. I see her at diners all the time. And she also is a creator, a cook, and she loves to go to Atlantic City and she takes videos in Atlantic City and she puts it on her talk show.
Yes.
And she's a comedian, and she is just unbelievable. So the name of your show is what?
The BS show.
The BS show, okay?
Because my initials, Bonnie Scalisi, are BS, and everything was taken, when you try to,
I gotta
secure
tell you,
a name.
BS show, BJ friends. I mean,
There you
geez.
go. There you go. Okay, so this it's up on the screen. I just produced
Look
my
at her.
first show.
And she loves black dresses.
I have a lot of them. I'm not always wearing the same
I hope not.
dress. So I just produced a show on Saturday night. This was from Saturday night at,
Yes.
at Governor's, my first solo produced show, and I had the best time. It couldn't have gone any better. There's a performer there named Olga Namer, who I just think she's incredible. And she came up to me and she said, would you like me to do, a set on your show? And, I was like, of course, of course. And so I had the professional who did a guest spot. And my headliner, Richard Schultes, is one of the funniest comics. He's not like famous, but if you look him up on YouTube, you could get a little inkling. He had the crowd in
Roaring.
stitches. And the guy that was in that photo, James, he's a new comedian who, just as the world, collides, he's grew up with my daughter, actually took her to the prom. He was the captain of the football
geez.
team. My daughter was a cheerleader. They went to the prom together. She dragged him to see me at Brokerage a couple of years ago when I was in a contest, and his little light bulb went off, and he's like, I want to do that at some point. I want to do that. So then I had him in my first show, and to watch him, Richard Schultes was, going into the audience in a fun way, picking on this younger man, and I turned around to look at the guy, and I see James beaming, because when you see a new comic, look at a pro who's been doing it for years, and you see them light up because they might maybe go to open mics and they see, people that, that's how I met Jennifer, as I ran an open mic
It's a
for
tough
over
business.
4 years.
Comedians are usually broke, right? It takes time.
It's all walks of life, comedians, all walks of life. And usually, like for me, I consider myself a retired kindergarten teacher. That's who I am. I do this for fun, and it's just something fun I do. And I've been on I've been on the main stage. That one, they have asked me to perform on the main stage just to be a comedian. But this particular show is very important to me because I have autistic sons.
Right.
And I do a lot for the autism community. And I was raising money for my son's after school program.
Yep.
And I got like almost 100 people to show up that night. Jennifer was in the audience supporting me.
And also, you're not telling them to get on that stage. You have to be.
It's
It's
hard.
very
Big.
hard. Very
So, and
hard to get on
before
it.
You got on it. You had your own show there, and I was down the hall,
Yes.
and we were
yes.
all kind of some issues because it's not easy to work with a lot of different people. Who's a comedian? Who's a sports guy? What did I do? They all said, "What do you do?" I'm like, "Everything and nothing," So everybody's show was different. But now look at you. You had another partner. You guys split it up, and now you're on your own show, doing it all on your own.
And I love doing it on my own because even that show that I put together, for reasons, I'm not going to go into the negative. I've learned
No.
from Jennifer, only look at the positive.
Right.
But I've always wanted to use Richard Schultes as a headliner. I was not allowed to do so. And so I was so excited to finally do the show the way I wanted to and have it run the way I wanted. And everyone who was there, my daughter, who never goes to support me in my comedy, came to that show for James, and she loved it. And she said this was the best show. Her friends who were 25-ish, and they're all around 25, they were laughing, and they are not, the young people, a lot of them are not into comedy. They
No,
just
and plus
don't.
the fact, you came a long way, and
Yeah.
you did it with your children. Your children that you had all these autistic problems in the family, and look at
A lot of my
kids now.
jokes are about that.
And look at this picture. Now, who is that guy? Because
I'm going to let Jennifer talk about
and
that.
then we're going to move on.
Yes.
That's Mike. I know Mike for a long time. Probably now. I actually met him at the second bar I worked at, and I'll be bartending 10 years almost.
But did I used to leave you messages on his phone once or twice? I think I did because I didn't know how to get in touch with you.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. He never told me. So.
Yeah, I did.
Thanks, Mike. You never told me about the messages, but it's okay. No, he's great. He actually, I've just gotten to see him grow even with the movies
We
that
just
he
saw you
produced.
there.
Yeah,
and
well, he's in the films
everything
now.
he is,
Where I
he is.
am, it's
They
weird.
run
how
the film circuit
Yeah.
with all that stuff, and just watching the movies progress and everything. I'm very proud of him, and we get to go, and it was nice because we both just get to go and hang out then,
have
and we had a
fun.
great time at the premiere.
It was so fun.
Of
Yeah, that was a great one. And so now, how do people find you? Watch your show.
I'm going to plug a show. I am in Terry McNeely's show on Friday, June 14th at Governor's Comedy Club in the Giggle Room. We'd love to fill the seats for Terry. Go to their website, and I hope to see you there.
All right,
That's the
let's
poster
drink to
for it.
these girls. Everybody, salutes, congratulations. Okay.
Thank you so much for
Thank
having
you
us
for
Oh,
having
on.
you're gonna
us.
go down and come back up later.
Okay.
All right, but
Thank-
this is
thank
for you
you so
guys.
much for
Thank you
having
for
us.
having us.
This is your gift. Here you go.
Oh, thank
Perfume.
you.
Everybody loves perfume,
Thank
right?
you.
And you can give that to
Are you trying to
anybody
tell
want.
me I smell nothing?
No.
I'm just joking. I'm
No, you
just
smell
joking.
good. But anyway, thanks,
you.
girls, and
Thank
stick around.
you.
You're gonna have me in for some treat.
Oh, I can't wait. I love your nails.
Okay, we're gonna move down one so Arthur could be, and
All
we're
right.
gonna have Bernadette come up over here. Okay, Bernadette, this way. You gotta come this way, right?
This way.
Yeah. This way we can get everybody in.
Just the two of them? You don't want to be in the center?
It doesn't matter. Okay.
Arthur,
And when you have to play, then you'll have to move on. Okay. All right, so we have
we've made our shift.
the Long Island Opera here. And this wonderful lady I met about 3 years ago in the restaurant. We were having a drink at the bar, which is where you can usually find me. I met these two lovely ladies, and it was great. And I'm going to let you talk about everything because you say it so well. I'm better at it than I used to be, but we have such a good time with you every time we come. So, Isabella, why don't you
Okay.
start?
So we are Opera Night Long Island, and we're celebrating our 20th year. We started very humbly as an open mic in a little cafe with a honky-tonk piano, low ceilings, and coffee machines grinding. Once a month, we gathered, and the audience grew. We moved across the street to the St. Paul's United Methodist Church, and continued with our monthly concerts. Singers came from all over. I guess, Arthur, when did you come into Opera Night? I think that's when we moved across.
Right, I think it's 2008,
2008.
February.
Because we started in 2004. Okay, so 4 years into this. So what we present opera highlights, arias. We have art songs, musical theater, operetta. During COVID, we actually produced videos that lasted for about a year, and then I think we just stopped altogether.
Yeah, well,
for
everybody
that
went
1
down
year.
for a little bit.
Yeah, and it was somewhat good for us to kind of reassess things.
Right.
And shortly after that, I'm trying to think, who did I meet first? Did I meet Steve or did I meet Bernadette?
Oh, I think you met Bernadette first.
I kind of introduced
Yes,
you to
Yes.
exactly. And of course, we have a mutual friend, James, who was a piano accompanist. I think that's how I got to meet Bernadette. Now, of course, Bernadette was the prima donna and one of the
It
directors
still is the prima donna.
of it was
Love her.
Island Lyric Opera Company, right?
yes.
And it was a performing, traveling theater on Long Island. I know my father went to, like, he was a #1 fan. He went to all of the performances.
sitting in the front row.
Yeah, sitting in the front row and then telling me all about it. And it was only years later when I met up with Bernadette. Of course, she's on the board of Opera Night Long Island.
And, you know, Isabella and myself, we'd be in Newsday. Her picture would be here because she was going to be performing that weekend maybe somewhere, and my picture would be here.
Yes.
We never met, but we were always together somehow or another
Yes,
on the
yes,
paper.
we sort of paralleled, our lives sort of paralleled. And in the past, I used to do a lot of the piano accompanying, but at this point, I do some of the accompanying, but we do have wonderful accompanists. And what we really needed at the time was an announcer, somebody who was able to say the titles. Now, in opera, we have Italian, we have French, we have German. Sometimes we have Czech,
Russian.
and it just goes on. And then who comes into our lives? Stephen Lowline.
And he
And here I
is
am.
quite the gentleman, quite
Thank
the
you.
dresser,
Thank you.
quite the designer. I see everything on Facebook. And who's that lovely blonde woman that cooks in your house? She
Oh
made
my,
that big
well-
dinner with all the yellow, beautiful plates and
Oh,
everything.
now she's. That was me.
That was a holiday.
He had a wig on.
That was me. I'm going to claim credit on that one.
Okay, but anyway, he is amazing, really.
Thank
and you
you.
know everybody, and that's hard to do.
Well, it's good to be here and to be amongst so many people who enjoy opera and music in general. I'm very blessed because I have the opportunity of introducing wonderful talent and working with a wonderful director, and also having sung with an amazing lady at Island Lyric Opera, and that was Bernadette.
That's our
She
queen
and I sang
here.
together for a number of years.
We were good friends for a long
So
time.
it's a very tight-knit group, and as
Absolutely.
I'm only with Long Island, Opera Night Long Island for, let me see, 13 months, 14 months now, it's a family. And it's a
well,
family that
everything,
makes
yes.
music. And it's not the same opera company you'd expect. It is certainly equal to, but it's unique. And when you come to Opera Night Long Island, you have a unique experience because you have unique singers. And that's what I have to say about that.
And if you go with it's a cheap date. And if you go with a man to the opera night, you know what? You're going to be like hunky-dory with each other by the time you leave because they're all love songs. And they tell you the explanation in English. But then they sing it in the language. And then it's really hunky-dory with you and your mate, you know?
The good part of it is Steve gets up and explains exactly
Everything.
what's going to happen. So when you get there, obviously it's in a different language in most cases, but Steve will explain and he'll give you like an itinerary of where we're going. You know, we're going to Spain, we're going to Italy, we're going to
Very
France.
enjoyable.
So nice. He's wonderful. He's
It's
really
important that the people understand what we're singing about.
Right.
I mean, you can just get up there and park and bark, and everybody sits there and says, "Oh, I remember that. I remember that song, and it's really nice." but you cannot leave Opera Night Long Island without knowing what they are singing about.
Absolutely.
And that's
Story.
very, very important.
Very true.
We make a point of making sure you know what you heard tonight. Not only what you heard musically, but lyrically, in speech and in language.
And also the churches where they do have these are gorgeous. I mean, they're beautiful
The
churches.
acoustics
The
are
acoustics,
wonderful.
they just raise the voices, and you meet some very interesting people. And there's always refreshments. So I mean, that's great.
And the
True.
refreshments are free.
So I think that we'd like to hear a little bit. You know, if you want to step
Yeah.
over to the piano.
Arthur, are you ready?
Can you?
Yeah.
Can you get
Yeah.
over there?
Okay,
And, yes,
okay,
and
sure.
then you'll come
We
back.
have to
and
do a
we'll
little
talk-
shuffle here.
Yeah, just one little shuffle.
Okay.
You know,
Okay,
that's
so
okay.
what Arthur's going to sing is, I'm sure all of you will recognize this. It's the famous La Donna Immobile, which means women are fickle.
Women are fickle.
And it comes from Verdi's opera Rigoletto. And, okay, we'll just do one verse, and I will accompany. Usually we accompany on pianos. This is a keyboard,
And that'll be fine.
I'm just standing here.
No, you could stand.
here.
No, you're gonna have to. Yeah, we can see you standing. Yes, you could stand there.
You see?
No, it's all
Come
right.
back.
Okay,
Oh, okay, great.
okay, so we'll
I didn't think they could get it in there. Thanks.
La donna immobile, qual piuma al vento, mutata al cento e di pensiero, sempre inamovile, leggiadro viso, in chiaro riso e manzoniero. La donna immobile, qual piuma al vento, mutata al cento pensier e di pensier
Good work,
Bravo.
Arthur. Bravo.
Can we get another one or no? Is that
Bravo.
it? Do we have another one
Next
or
to
no?
that,
Is that it?
Isabella.
Do we have another one?
Because we have enough time. We
Oh
can
my
have one more
goodness.
quickie.
Another one?
Arthur. Okay, these are arias for tenor. Are we a little of una fortiva? You want to try a little of that? Oh, che gelida.
Is that it?
You want to try a little of that? A little? No, we're just going to do a little. We're not going to do the whole
Okay.
one.
Let's see.
This is when I'm usually ad-libbing.
Yes.
Oh, questo e quella? Okay. Well, this is also from the same opera,
Yeah.
Rigoletto.
Right.
Questo
Beginning.
e quella, which means this,
This
or
or
that.
that.
This
So
and
it
that.
doesn't matter to, he's the Duke, right?
Duke, right,
He is
this
the Duke.
lady
It
and
doesn't
that
mean-
girl.
It doesn't matter, this or that. Okay, we'll just do a little of this one.
Okay.
Okay. I have to get used to this keyboard
Yeah,
here.
the keyboard,
Because this
different from
keyboard
piano.
is not a normal size as a piano. So when the fingers are used to
Right.
playing like this, you have to
Stretch.
close them in. So, okay, here we go.
questa quella per me pari suonan quantato ritornano intorno mi veto che me cuore in pendola cielo melle tuna quietata beltà la costola un'venenza con le tono di che fa tuoni e fiora la vita so di questa mi torna gratita le folle se n'ha tre mallo se n'ha un'altra voce un'altra mallo se n'ha
Ancora, bravo.
Thank you very much. That was great. Terrific.
Do you want me
This
to
is
shift
what
around?
you. Yeah, we'll get
I'll
everybody
get 'em
back
right
in.
back
This is what you get when you go to the opera. Only how many do you sing? 20, 18
We have
songs?
approximately 8 to 10 performers, and of late we've been doing quite a number of ensemble music. In other words, duets and trios,
Trios.
And the
Quartets.
costumes and
Quartets.
the dresses.
And
makeup.
Oh, the ladies,
and
yeah, are
Steve will
always-
let you know exactly what he was saying. You'll know every word. So when he actually performs, you feel like, okay, I know what this is all about. And you, if it's funny, you enjoyed the comedy. If you don't understand the language, it's hard to really realize. And this is kind of funny.
And of course, we're not doing one opera. We represent about, in one concert, we can have as
Oh
many
my
as
God, you can have
12,
as many as 12 or
13
13.
12, 13 operas. And we usually have one of the most famous arias that come from these operas. And of course, Puccini and Verdi, that's always a staple. Women in the audience, I know, get very disappointed if there wasn't any Verdi. I said, but yes, we had Puccini, we had Cilea, all the great.
They all like the romantic period.
Yes.
The best.
Yeah, Stephen knows the story inside and out.
Yes, which is really.
Yes.
How
Thank
do
you,
you
Art.
know everything? It's what you studied, I guess, your whole life.
It's what I studied my whole life,
Yeah.
and made a decision that, hey, I'm not going to have anybody leave a performance without knowing what they're singing about.
Right.
It's
Well,
very important because
that's
that's
why I
part of
enjoyed
life.
it, because I said, I don't know if I'm going to go. I'm not going to understand. And then when I saw how you do it, especially when there was a love song, or if it was a fight between a man and a woman,
You had no
you
idea
know,
what it
at
was.
least you get to know the
Sense
dialogue
of it.
before.
Yeah.
And that's why I got involved, and also to help you guys market.
And we do this once a month. It's always the second Friday of the month. But you can also look out for us because every now and then we'll pop up in a library. We were at the Manhasset Library.
Just recently, yes.
I know we
Huntington
were in
Library.
Plainview. Huntington Library.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always the second Friday of the month, and we have a whole summer program lined up. The dates, of course, we have an upcoming June 14th.
That's a big one, right?
Yes, and then we have
July
July
12th.
We have a
12th.
flyer
we
on
have
it. I believe we have a
August.
flyer on that one.
We have a flyer, yes.
Yes,
And-
we're going to show it in a little bit.
Okay, and always our website.
Okay,
is-
and then we have this special one that you
Oh,
have.
okay, yes. This is now talking about opera companies because there really aren't that many opera companies out on Long Island, even though we are huge. Yet there is the Gilbert and Sullivan Light Opera Company of Long Island. They've been around for 70 years. And I love their mission. Their mission is each year to produce one of the Gilbert and Sullivan operas. There's about 14 of them altogether. Famous ones are The Pirates of Penzance, HMS Pinafore. This year, they are putting on Iolanthe. Iolanthe is a fairy. It's the story of the fairies and the peers. The peers are the men from the House of Lords. And they asked me to be the musical director, and
So congratulations on
normally
that. That's
I
very
don't
nice.
do that. Normally I don't do choral conducting. I really am by nature a piano teacher and a pianist, and I accompany. But this was such a wonderful group. This is a wonderful group, almost 40 of us. And so far we've been doing a number of performances in libraries, and upcoming you can also look out for their website. Just type out Gilbert and Sullivan of Long Island. But the last 2 weekends of June, the group is going to be in 4 big theaters on Long Island. We have the Landmark Theater, the Bayway Arts. We have the Suffolk Jewish Community Center. And we have the Madison Theater at Malloy
So
University.
you're very local.
So,
You know,
yeah.
a lot of different areas.
And on the 15th, we're going to be in Massapequa. We're going to be at Massapequa Library, and it's the last concert that I will be playing the piano for a smaller group, the principals only group, but then we break out into, we have a conductor named David Bernard, and he's going to conduct an orchestra with the large company. And the large company of the Gilbert and Sullivan involves, there's close to 40 of them.
That's
So
terrific.
it's a nice big group.
So when is the one in Massapequa?
That's on the 15th. Well,
You
we
should-
have a
you
lot
should-
going on. We
You
have-
should reach out to the Massapequa Chamber. They have like about 100 attendees. You might want to just call them and let
well,
them know.
and if anyone's interested, they do have to make reservations, and I know they go quickly now as we're getting closer to the date. So a lot of libraries are doing that. But yeah, I should reach out to
They're
them.
very nice. I have the number because I just
Okay.
joined because I just moved here.
Oh.
So, but I can give you the president's
Nice.
number. Yeah.
Do
It's
you
a
also
very
have
nice
the
area.
flyer for the June 14th concert?
Do we have another flyer for the June 14th? I'm not sure.
This is wonderful.
We'll
It's
check it
red.
out. No,
Oh,
okay,
we
we don't
don't.
have it, but you have it here, don't you?
Yes, we do. There.
Yeah, so where is it?
I think
We
you
got
had
it.
it under with some of your papers
I do.
there.
Where the, is it? We'll find it. One
And you
minute.
can find it on our website.
Yeah, where is the website? What do they go to?
Operanight.org. Operanight.org.
And what will they find at Upper
You'll
Night?
see the flyer, and scrolling
Okay.
down, lots of group photos, and we also send out newsletters. And oh, here we go. Well, that's our logo.
There you go, there
Yes,
you are.
Upper Night Long Island. What does
So
it
just
say?
remember,
The
June
Long
14th.
Island Breakfast Club. Yeah, June 14th, and that's going to be a Friday. That'll be in Huntington
At
at
the
the
Unitarian.
Unitarian.
Universalist on Browns Road.
At 7:30 p.m., right?
7:30
And you
p.m.
can also look on my Facebook. I have it on my Facebook.
Oh, good.
And you have it on yours, and you have it on your website.
Yeah.
And you should try it just once, like I said. And wherever they play, there's always a very nice restaurant down the block.
we have lots of singers.
We know
The
a lot
sing-
about that.
Yes.
We have lots of singers. They come from all over. We have many doctorate, graduate
And
students
you're
from Stony
nurturing
Brook.
younger singers as well.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of
We have
people also
season-
tape when you're in the
Yes.
in the audience. They tape the music.
I think that one of the main things about the company is that it gives both people who have been singing, they are old timers, and young people who have no experience or very little experience, the chance to get up and be heard. Because you can have the most beautiful voice in the world, but if all you do is sing in the bathroom, it's not going to help you. So you have to be heard. And this gives them that opportunity. And Isabella is wonderful to do this because it is a very daunting thing to do. It's not easy.
That's not easy. Oh
easy.
God, I couldn't even
And
think of it.
it's not easy because often singers, it's hard to get an audience of people. It's hard to have an accompanist, and a piano available. So we provide all of that. We
Exactly.
provide our singers with an audience, with an accompanist, with a
And
program.
very nice locations.
Yes.
And I'm sure our comedians in the audience, they could relate.
Oh.
Because don't you need also the person behind you, the person
Mm-hmm.
telling you something that you're doing wrong, the audience to respond, not nasty but funny, So it's
And it's
similar. It's a
to-
different experience, but
No matter
Yeah.
what, it's live theater, and anything can happen.
absolutely, just like right on this show, anything can happen. I could break this bottle of wine right on the table,
And it is a
spill
lot
coffee.
to organize. At this point, many singers are coming our way.
Because you have so many more.
And so
Right.
this guy over here has been
He has
keeping
a bigger
he has
job.
a database. He has what is it called? A spreadsheet,
Spreadsheet.
of the singers, the arias that they're going to be singing, and I think we're booked until
We're
I
booked
guess,
until September.
So you have
yeah.
a nice summer, and isn't it the anniversary year?
Yes,
Right,
20
20
years.
So 20
yeah.
years you're doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. Really, it really
It's
is.
very difficult. It's not easy. It looks easy, but it is not. There's a lot of work that goes into it. A lot of work.
People have very, very challenging schedules, so trying to get everybody at the same time, especially when you're working with ensembles.
And people work during the day.
And people work during the day, and then of course they have everything memorized. But still, stepping on stage and putting yourself out there, and you were working 8 hours earlier.
And then the women
It's
have
tough.
to be dressed. The makeup has to be done.
What happens when a singer cancels because they have a cold? What happens?
Well, we've had that experience, and we're all human. This happens. Singers are human, so you have to cut them some slack. So if somebody cancels at the last minute, generally we'll have, at the very last minute, if it's like hours before the concert, we'll have one of our program singers do a back pocket aria. In other words, something that they're prepared to sing just in the event that one of their colleagues steps out. If the singer becomes ill 2 or 3 days before, we have a standby call list where people who have been waiting to perform are given that opportunity because, let's say, for example, Arthur became ill, God forbid, but he called me 2 days before and he said, look, tell Isabella I can't do it. We always have 2 or 3 singers, young singers, ready to go with their arias, and we have an accompanist, always an accompanist, accomplished, who is right on the spot to make the change.
Plus your visibility of the whole group, everybody's dressed so nicely. I was the first person I met was Arthur, and he was dressed to the nines. We met him in the parking lot.
Tuxedo, right?
Yeah,
His
in the
tuxedo,
parking lot.
Arthur's
And we
always
didn't
in
know how to get
tuxedo.
into the
bow
church.
tie.
But he actually guided us in to the church because I didn't want to do the steps. So you were the first person that I met many years ago.
Nice
And your voice and your clothing and everything about you was very, very, out there.
you.
Everybody
Thank
loves
you.
you. So
That's
you
what
guys
we're
have to
about.
come and see it because it's quite enjoyable.
And you may not, a lot of times when you hear about opera, you think, oh, I'm in for a long.
I'm thinking of the
2.5
glasses.
hour.
I think of
Oh.
opera. I think of those
Yeah,
glasses in the movie. That movie where,
Oh, well,
the girls thought,
binoculars.
Moonstruck. Moonstruck?
yeah,
Oh,
yes.
And the good part is that you don't hear the entire opera. You get the best parts of the opera. So the arias,
one.
which are the famous things that you know. So you don't have to go through anything, like hours of just monotonous talk. You're going through the things that are most popular that people love. And he's telling you what it's all about. So, I mean, you get the best of both
and
worlds.
husbands are very happy because a lot of times women bring their husbands unwillingly.
Right.
And then they
And
like
yes,
it.
And they're
There's-
smiling
yes,
and they're
exactly.
happy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
they're
they
gonna come
see these
back.
beautiful women dressed.
One of the
dressed up
things
in-
that we do try to do now with our new format is to say, are you still with me? Are you going to stay with us? Then I know
Well, but the
intermission's
people
on
are
approach,
full
but we have a
asleep.
surprise for you in the second half, so sit tight. And everybody either looks like this because either they're freaking out, or they're like, wow, it really was that good, and gee, that was pretty funny. Normally I would have I want to stay now. And it works.
That does work. Well, today our show is sponsored by Frank's Fantastic Fenders. If you have a car accident, if you need car work, if you just want to talk to a very nice man, he's single, he dances, he's everything.
You forgot to tell us how old he was.
I'm not telling his age, but he's located in New Hyde Park at 1 North 12th Street. He's been a member of the club for 18 years, and he's very good to our clients. He even, when the pandemic was going on and people needed to get to an interview who was out of work, he would drive them. So if you ever need anyone for your car, and when you get that one accident and you don't know what to do, you take one of these. He gives it to everyone. You keep it in your glove box. When you have that accident, you pull it out, you call Frank, and you ask 5 questions. So by the time he gets there, you're all set. So that's our dear Frank Perusa. I think you girls know him in the audience. And he's very good looking and Italian, and he has personality.
Wait, is this the dating game? Or what is this?
Well, he's single,
I'm not
so
sure
why
what
not?
this is about.
But so
Tell him
that's
to
our.
come to the opera.
Yes, I'm
Yes.
going to bring him one day. He was supposed to be here today, but he couldn't make it. Yeah, and what I like to do towards the end of the show is talk about something. So I'm going to pick on you because you. I think you'll know what to say. I'm going to read something, and then you tell me what you think. Learn from me, for I am gentle, I am humble, and you will find rest for yourself and all people in your life and their souls.
So what do you want me to tell you?
What do you get out of that card?
I think it's the most beautiful saying because actually I have something similar in my kitchen that I made up. It's a beautiful telling you that you're in somebody's heart and they're in your heart, and that to me is the most important thing. Everything in life has, and you know that, is important to us, but love is the most important. Love for your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your sweetheart, whoever. No matter what you have in life, you need love, because without love, you have no life.
And another one I have, I'm going to let you comment on it. I know what I think this means, but you probably think it means something else. He is my fortress. I will not be shaken.
He is my fortress, I will not be shaken. Well, we could see that in terms of people closest to us. We could think of our God, or
Right? Or it could be someone maybe lost. Right? That's what I think of this. I think of, my dad. He is my fortress. He was my God. But he's up there, and I'm not shaken that he's gone, but I miss him. That's it. But
Isabella,
everyone.
you can think of your father too, because
Yeah.
he was the one that really got you into music. I mean, he loved it so much.
yes, he did.
And so you can interpret these cards in any way. And I try to use them once in a while. They're a little serious, but they're actually they're all good. You
And
know,
they're clips taken from the Bible, is that right?
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not a holy roller by any means, but
That's a message that.
yeah, it's what
that
needs to be
doesn't- yeah.
done in this world right now since the pandemic. I mean, you know, I don't know how you guys feel about sometimes you're out in a parking lot and a big thing breaks out because of a parking spot, you know. I
Well,
don't deal
that's
with it
why-
anymore. I don't deal with I roll down the window, I'm like, hey. And I smile. I'm like, I don't care. Guess what? Doesn't matter.
Love matters,
Yes.
not hate. And we have too much hate. We need to have more love in our life.
And-
Because love makes you happy, not just the person you're giving it to, but you feel happier when you're giving love because you get it back.
And I think our former two guests, you know, the BJs, they're here, they're smiling.
Yes.
That's right. And we're happy you came and that you enjoyed it.
Friends now on Facebook with that.
Yes, really,
that-
I think you are.
it's the way I tell people is crazy sells. Do something crazy. That's crazy.
We also went to a vacation together and had the best time. We were roommates.
We went to see Elvis's.
Oh.
where he lives,
Tennessee?
because
That
we-
had to be some.
Yeah,
What
it
was
was
that
so
called?
fun.
And Dollywood
Graceland.
and
Graceland.
Nashville,
Yeah,
and we were roommates because we're up. Our hours are so crazy. We're like up at 5 in the morning just hanging
My
out.
other two friends went to bed at a normal hour, and we're sitting there watching horror movies.
Yeah.
They're so adorable, aren't they? They're like you're like sisters, kissing cousins or something like that.
And that's what I'm thankful.
You should do a commercial together, really, about each other, and it would be a great commercial because you guys are very good with it. You really are. So, as you know, my book's still for sale as usual. A book is called From Fire to Freedom. Check it out. It's 70 stories of women, 69 women and one man who got fired because they were 50, intelligent, and made too much money. And we started the club 16 years ago. You had to be 50, fired, and intelligent. And we're still around. It's 18 years, and we've gone from, resumes to jobs to now we don't want to work because we're old. And now we do talk show and we do film. So we have a new film coming up. It's called The Fontanas. I'm playing the mother.
Right, that's right.
It's just like The Sopranos. And we just finished the first 7 episodes. And it will be shown at the New York Long Island Film Festival in Lindenhurst. For 4 days, we're having a whole film festival. Everybody should go. You get to see movies for, 6 movies, eat popcorn, hamburgers. And it's in the whole area of Lindenhurst, the theater district. And there's a lot of people that don't know there's a theater district in Lindenhurst. But it's not as huge as Manhattan, but it's a nice day out and there's great restaurants. And that's coming up in October. It's on my website. And because I got involved in every different thing, that's how my career grew. So, and when you write a book, your life changes, your business grows, and you get paid to speak. Because the word author gives you more presence, and that's when you can get paid to speak. Now, I would like to speak at a big conference that pays me, $1,000 to $2,000, but if you want to keep it small, you can do it locally. Every library pays you to speak. You just have to get on the list and schmooze the library director. But I have spoken a few times. And also with the summer coming, there's a lot of beach clubs where you can do that. And you talk about the funny things and the serious things. And people today can relate to job loss because there's not the old jobs. And the best thing for me, I got on my cover getting kicked in the butt by my boss, but then traveling up with wings because when something happens to you, it forces you to learn to do something new.
Absolutely,
So-
I agree with that.
And we coach a lot of people that are going to retire but don't know what they want to do. And I tell them, don't retire. Start thinking about it before. And then you'll know when you retire what you're going to do.
The worst thing you can do when you retire is to sit home and just watch television and do nothing else.
Yep. And if you're depressed, you're going to eat a lot of ice cream cones.
Yeah?
And you're going to be in the car traveling around, and you're going to see all these people going to work. That's what I used to do. And you say, they have a job, and I don't. And it takes time to get over it. But then all of a sudden, there's this whole world out there, and nobody gives you a problem when you volunteer.
And
Because you're not
event-
getting paid, so
and
they
event-
love you.
And eventually you're saying to them, they're getting paid and I'm not, but they're working and I'm not. And thanks God for that. Hallelujah.
So on an ending note, when you volunteer, you're only going to be people that are nice, that want to be there, because they're not getting paid, and your world will blossom. And that is a wrap. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it was a
you for
great
having
show.
us.
Great talent. Great everything. Watch us again.